back to my channel. As you saw from the title, I'm going to be talking about two very popular book talk books that I just did not like, and that is Powerless by Lauren Roberts and The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. I would like to start this video by saying this. This is just my opinion. If you love these books, I genuinely love that for you. I wanted to love them so bad. I saw them all over Book Talk, BookTube, Bookstagram, everywhere. It was promoted at my local Barnes & Noble a ton. I wanted to like these books so much. They just fell short for me in a lot of ways. I just wanted to give my opinion on why they weren't my favorite and things that I did like about the book, because I didn't hate the books completely. There were just some things that were just like interesting. So the first book I'm going to talk about is Powerless. I'm going to give you a quick summary of the book. It follows Peyton. She does not have powers. The elites have powers and have had them for a while. They are gifted to them by the plague, but not everybody was gifted these powers. These people are called the Ordinary. And one day the king decided to ban all ordinary people. So if you don't have a power, it's a crime, and Peyton does not have a power. She is a thief by necessity because she doesn't have any money. She's been surviving in the slums. She keeps her head down and minds her own business, but one day she saves a prince. And because of all the buzz that got, she is thrown into the purging trials, a trial where you have to win, a deadly trial, a deadly competition you have to win, and this girl has no powers. Yeah, you heard that right. A girl that has no powers to win a deadly competition. That is the overview of the book. The first thing I didn't like about this book, I read Lightlark, and is that not the same plot? So similar to Red Queen. There are some scenes I was like, I swear I've read this scene before. It happened in Red Queen. So right off the bat, I'm like, this book sounds so similar to Red Queen and Lightlark, and I actually ended up looking up the book online and like reading other reviews, and other people were saying the same thing. And not like similar, it was just, that is the plot of Lightlark. That is also the plot of this book. Anyways, it just seemed very similar to two books that I'd already read before. We're gonna put a pin in that. Powerless is often described as enemies to lovers, which would be Kai and Peyton. They at most were annoyed to lovers. Not once did Peyton ever hate Kai, and Kai definitely never hated her. Tell that there was attraction there and that they started liking each other and basically just fought the urge to like each other. But as far as them hating each other, being enemies, nar. I either missed that part or it's just not enemies to lovers. Mutual annoyance to lovers. It almost seemed forced that they hated each other. It didn't seem authentic or genuine. I feel like true enemies to lovers is built on a lot of things, deep conflict, events leading up to it. They barely knew each other. Not that there has to be high stakes for them to be enemies, but I feel like that helps for someone to be enemies when there's like high stakes. Their relationship just lacked the intensity and super high stakes for them to be enemies. Their romance happened so fast. It didn't feel like a slow burn to me. It doesn't have to be a slow burn, but that's just something that I liked. So it was another reason where I was like, not too big of a fan. And the banter, I'm so sorry. I could not, it was so cringy. When you have to have that much banter, like come on now. Like if they're gonna fall in love, they're gonna fall in love. They do not have to be doing this cringy. I just could not get behind it. It was just making me irritated. I wasn't like, oh, so cute. Another thing that whenever I saw the video, it was marketed as like fantasy first, romance second. I feel like the romance really overshadowed the fantasy. Considering she does not even have powers, I just feel like the fantasy element was not a huge part of the book at all. The fantasy part of the story feels like a backdrop and not a fully fleshed out element of the story. World building, the magic system are always skimmed over or are just inconsistent. Like it was never cohesive, makes sense. It just kind of was like this, believe it. It was just never explained. Telling, not showing. It's like deadly competition, purging, ordinaries, Kai, Peyton, he. I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't buying it. The writing itself is repetitive and just so cliche, predictable. I could have told you the whole plot of the story. Like, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen. A tale is all the time, especially the best friend plotline, like what happened to her. At this point, maybe I'm nitpicking. It will just jump timelines or jump from one thing to the next with zero logical progression. I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. This doesn't make sense. Again, what I was saying earlier, just a lot of world building gaps. The history, political system are unexplored and just poorly integrated. I just wasn't invested in the world and the characters, so I just couldn't care about the book. Even the characters, I love characters that have a lot of depth to them. I felt like there was no depth to Kai or Peyton. I can tell you about Peyton's past because she brings up why she has to be a thief every other sentence, but other than that, there's nothing deep about her character. And Kai, he just seems so performative. He says all the right things. The dark and brooding, moody character. He's mysterious, all the right things. I'm not buying it, Kai. I'm not buying it. You're the prince. He's like the overshadowed prince, this, that, the third, you know, whatever. Oh, woe is me. Again, I just could not be convinced to care. But back to where I said this book seemed very similar to Lightlark and the Red Queen. It also seemed like it wanted to be the Hunger Games, but one thing that I will always say, I don't think you should use, oh, my book is so similar to this book. One, because a series like the Hunger Games, no series will ever live up to the Hunger Games. The Hunger Games is so amazing. That will be one of the classics one day. It's that good. I just feel like no book can touch the Hunger Games trilogy. So as soon as someone says, oh, this looks like the Hunger Games, or it's already not going to live up to that. A lot of elements of the book are so similar to the Hunger Games. Peyton wanted to be Katniss so bad, like, you're not Katniss. When she picked the bow and arrow for her weapon, I was like, girl, please. And the announcer sounded just like the announcer from the Hunger Games. Caesar Flickerman, like, no, you're not Caesar Flickerman. Katniss's survival skills and her personality just seem so organic and original, and Peyton's just seem forced and not believable, just like a copy. Even Red Queen, I was not a fan of Red Queen, but Mare Barrow, it still seemed very authentic, very her, a hidden power and a powerless girl. We've seen it before. And Lightlark and Red Queen just seemed so unoriginal. And I'm not trying to be a hater, because there were elements of the books that I did, like The Best Friend. I will probably read Powerful because that was my favorite character in the book Powerless. I don't think I'll read Reckless. I may. I don't know. I don't think so. I really doubt it though. I'm not saying the book was bad. I'm not saying that it's terrible. I'm just saying it was not for me, and these are the reasons that I just could not get behind it. And it is so hyped up. I'm like, there's got to be more people that are like, what was that? That just seemed too similar to this story, or just were not feeling the vibes, didn't believe the story. I want to believe what I'm reading. I could not be convinced that Kai and Peyton were not being performative. And I wish I felt otherwise, because I really did want to love it. But it just felt like a bunch of scenes from other books jumbled up and put into one book without adding anything new to it. So I think I ended up giving that book 2.75 stars. That's not the worst rating in the world, like I said. I'm here for it. Now we can talk about this book, The Serpent and the Wings Tonight. The way I could write a 50-page essay on this book, actually, because this book, I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. I was like, I'm having a good time. There's some things that make absolutely no sense. Then I got to the plot twist at the end, and I was like, girl, please. Girl, please. I was so angry. I remember being so mad. I shut the book because I'm like, no way she just did that. Anyways, a quick summary. This follows Araya. She is the adopted daughter of the Nightborn Vampire King. She's living in a world of vampires, and she's a human. Right. She does want to become a vampire though, and to become a vampire, she wants to win the Kajari, which is a deadly tournament. If she wins, she's granted one wish, and her wish would be to become a vampire so she can be just like her dad, the Nightborn King. Being the only human amongst very deadly vampires and her winning, odds are very much against her. Her way of trying to survive the trials is to make an alliance with Rain, and Rain is a vampire. He is a really deadly vampire. Probably shouldn't be trusted. Probably shouldn't be around him because he'll probably betray you and kill you, but what do I know? Another thing that I think is probably not the smartest thing is falling in love during a deadly competition, because only one person can win. So if you fall in love, that either means that you're going to get killed or you're going to have to kill them. Again, what do I know? I wasn't there. Now, my issues with this book. If you're in a deadly competition, how can you just leave and go get weapons from your father, the Nightborn King, and just keep poisoning people left and right? How is she allowed to do that? How is nobody like suspecting anything? Who's poisoning everybody? Maybe the human girl that doesn't have powers. This book lacks world building and just throws you right into it. No backstory, you're just there. There's just little context on the broader world, its history, societies, like the dynamics between, because there are different like vampire houses and stuff like that, but you don't really hear a ton about it. The lack of a concrete setting or cultural nuance, it just makes the stakes not as high. What's the point of caring? Araya wants to be a vampire like her dad. Okay, so what? It's not enough for me to want you to win so bad. I want to be a vampire like your dad because you feel different because you're human. You see what I'm saying? It's not enough for me. And then how is a human surviving a competition with deadly, vicious, dangerous vampires? She's a human. Yes, she was raised by the Vampire King. She has no powers. All she can do is poison people. She does have fighting skills. She's intelligent, but she's physically weaker. She's slower. She can't fly, but she's killing vampires left and right. Nah, babe. No. That doesn't make any sense to me. And she never loses. Even if it's just losing a fight. It doesn't feel like anything that she did was earned. It was just handed to her. Didn't have to make her way, fight her way. Yes, she's human, but she has no problem killing these vampires. She's just killing them left and right. She did it for fun. The narrative does not do enough to explain how she's capable of overcoming all of these trials and vampires. I wanted it to be explained to me. So I'm sitting here like, all right, one vampire killed, okay. And then she keeps killing them. Head scratch, head scratch. The balance between the underdog and absolutely unrealistic makes no sense is very skewed. Makes her victory seem like convenient plot devices rather than an earned victory. And back to what I said before, how is she going to get poisonous weapons from her dad during a deadly competition? She sneaks out nightly to obtain items from Vincent to help her in the competition. How? Like, no one's monitoring this. That's not against the rules. I'm sure it's against the rules, but no one's monitoring it. No one cares. This undermines the credibility of the competition's security. Araya can repeatedly sneak out without consequence and makes it feel like the competition is less dangerous and the world is less cohesive, because it cannot be that dangerous if she can do it every single night, not get caught, and have zero consequences. Seriously, you can just sneak out and go back home, honestly, and just stay there until the competition's over and then come kill one more person and win. It's also frustrating because it diminishes her resourcefulness. Instead of relying on herself and her own ingenuity, she has to depend on outside help, because again, she's a human in a game with vampires. I totally get, like, you know, playing the game and even cheating, whatever, if it's with stuff in the competition, because she is a human up against all these vampires. But utilize what you have and prove yourself with what you have. Don't go outside the competition and get your dad to basically win it for you, because you don't know what you're doing. Next, I'm gonna talk about the flat characters. Araya and Rain are not the only characters in this book, but you would have thought so. You would have thought so. I actually did love Araya and Vincent because I love complex, like, parent relationships. Complex parent relationships. It is one of my favorite, I don't know if you call it a trope, but like favorite thing to read about in books, because when you love your parent despite how they became your parent, or despite all the like events that have happened beforehand, because their relationship is really complicated. I'm not gonna say one big part of the story because it is a spoiler, but when you find out why and how he adopted her, it is very conflicting. And him just being a vampire king and just not letting her do anything is conflicting within itself. But I love that so much, and I just wish it was explored more, and it just wasn't. And Rain is just a handsome, mysterious vampire. Characters that lack substance makes it so hard to emotionally invest in the story. For example, the big plot twist with Rain and what he does to Vincent would have had a greater impact if we knew anything about them. Another issue is the pacing. Oh my goodness, the pacing. We're not waking up at this 3 days later. No, that bothers me so much in books. Especially when nothing, like, you're telling me nothing happened for 3 days of a deadly competition? No. And then there are some parts that are so slow, and it's like, we do not need to know every single detail about this. The things that are just, that did not matter have all these pages, but things like, oh, she just won, blah, 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 blah. Okay, next page. Okay, 10 days later, like, what? No, can we talk about that? Can we talk about it? Let's talk about it. I'm gonna talk about it. This part is a spoiler, so skip to this part on the screen, and that will be my final thoughts on this book. This part will be a spoiler because I can't explain why this irritated me so much without telling what happened. Rhea wins the competition. She wins the Kajari. The human won the vampire competition. Yay, yay, yay. I was happy. I really was. She wins, and she gets her one wish. Rain had to die because they're the last two. Rain had to die. She wishes that Rain would have won instead. Girl, what? Girl, what? What? I wish I had my reaction to me reading that part on camera. Are you serious? All that for you to wish that? And what does this man do? So Rain comes back to life. He wins the competition. What does he do? He kills her dad. He kills her dad. He kills her dad, murders him right in front of her. All because she brought him back to life. Yeah, that's what you get for falling in love with some random vampire that you don't know. That's what you get. That's what you get. That's what you get. I'm so bothered by that still to this day, because why would you do that? You won. You won. And then he killed your dad. And then he kidnapped her and locked her up. Aside from that being a really stupid, dumb decision, it made no sense with Araya's character. Like, Araya from page 1 would have never done something as foolish as that. So by the end of the story, she's just giving up her biggest wish ever. Everything that she has trained for her entire life for a man she's barely known. Vampire she's barely known at that. That would have killed her in cold blood. And all for him to kill your dad and then kidnap you? Araya, what were you thinking? So it's like, after surviving countless trials, you sacrificed your wish for Rain, who's not even a good person, not even a good guy. It just undermines her journey. Or maybe it doesn't, maybe that's how she always was, but it was not explained enough for me to believe it, because I'm like, ain't no way. Ain't no way she just did that. Ain't no way. Why would you do that? Porque. Vincent's death is obviously shocking. It doesn't even feel earned because the emotional groundwork for that betrayal wasn't even fully established. So it was just like, the drama. So why did you do that? And then we find out why Rain did that in book 2. And book 2 was longer. I could make a video about book 2 as well. I'm not gonna get into it. But book 2 was longer, and it just made me dislike Araya and Rain both. So I did not like that book at all. I was waiting for Araya's revenge arc in book 2. You know, you made a very, very terrible mistake and ended up having your dad killed. Let's take back your kingdom because your dad was the king, so let's take it back, right? That's what you would think would happen in book 2, no? That's what I would think. That's what I thought. That's why I read book 2. If that's what you're expecting, you're gonna be disappointed. Again, I really loved Araya's character at the beginning. I did think that the competition was a little bit unbelievable. I just was not expecting that. Sorry, I am not the type of person that believes that love conquers all. You joined the competition for a reason. You had one goal. You've been working towards it your whole life. No way you should give it up for a vampire that you don't even know. Again, I thought book 2 would be her revenge arc and that Rain would get what was coming to him. That is not what happened. Basically, she betrayed her own journey. There was really unclear motivation of why Rain did what he did. Like, the conflict with her loyalty to Vincent as well, because Rain never really talked, didn't ever have anything good to say about Vincent. The stakes of the competition were undermined. So many missed opportunities for character development. The fallout felt contrived. At the end of the book, I just left feeling unsatisfied. The ending was just unrewarded. I was not a fan. I wish I was. The book had a very intriguing premise and the potential for things that I normally love in a book. Because again, I'm not going to say the book is bad or terrible. This is just the things that I would have loved to see. Just so much more to the characters, like fully fleshed out characters, lots of background on them, better world building. The side characters that we did have, I just felt like we're just like there so that there weren't only 2 characters in the book, being Rain and Araya, not because they actually had a purpose, if that makes sense. It was just unbelievable, and with the huge plot twist at the end, I just could not get behind it. That's why I was not a fan of this book. No hate to the authors. I am still gonna read her book, The Songbird and the Heart of Stone. It just recently came out. I still plan to pick that up because it looks good. I didn't dislike her writing, I didn't dislike her writing style. I dislike what she wrote. I would say I want the next book that she has to have more world building in it. But as long as she doesn't write some crazy weird betrayal like that again, I'll read more of her books. Like I said, I like the writing style. What she wrote, double and give it to the next person. She also has another series, Daughter of No World, and I've talked before about this series not being my favorite, and everyone said that, like, oh, if that wasn't your favorite, pick up Daughter of No World. So I will read that as well because I already have the book, so I'm not sworn away from her for forever. If you think that I should continue the Powerless series and give Powerful and Reckless a chance, let me know. I just thought the first book just seemed too much like carbon copies of other books. It was nothing new, and I don't like reading the same thing over and over. I want books that are different, which is what I've just seen a lot of recently. Like, a lot of books just seem the same of what you've read over and over and over again, and I'm just not wanting to do that. Again, I'm not trying to hate on these authors or your favorite books. If these are your favorite, I'm gonna check out some of the other books. Probably from the library, like the books that I don't own, I'll probably just use the library, and if I do like it, I'll end up buying myself a copy, and if I don't, no money, regrets. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Definitely leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. I would love to hear them, and if you want more videos like this, let me know that as well. Tune in next time. Bye guys.